Hello there, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Oluwayomi, and it's such a joy to come your way this very beautiful Monday morning. And yes, it's still the month of the children. We talked about a whole lot about children in this month. The last 2 weeks, we're looking about child's temperament. How do you shape the child without breaking the child? And I loved the way our guests talked about the temperament using the 4 colors, the gold, the orange, the blue, and the green. Did you miss it? If you did, just hop up to the YouTube channel and you'll get everything you want there. Trust me, it's a rich channel. You don't want to take your eyes off it for a moment. So many articles there, so many interviews, so many conversations that will add value to you. And a big thank you to every single person that's joining me live this morning. Thank you so much for giving me a share of your time. I do appreciate you so much. And like I always say, please like the video, share it, and let me have your feedback. I will always appreciate it. And for those that will watch thereafter, thank you also for a share of your time. Again, like the video, share it, let somebody out there know that there is something called Knocks to Nuggets. So today we are continuing, still about parenting, about children, but this time talking about bullying. What is bullying? What age can bully? How do we guide against bullying? And I have a guest in the house today. He's no longer a guest, he's a member of the family. He's been here before, he's been here like twice or thrice, and he's here again, talking about bullying proof. How do you safeguard your children? Practical steps about it. My guest today is a counselor, is a child psychologist, is a conference speaker, is a coach, is a mentor. He has all that it takes to talk to us about this. So join me this morning as I receive to the Knocks to Nuggets platform. Thank God, Ocheho. Hey, good to have you in the house. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you so much for being on this program with me this morning. I do appreciate it. And because our time is limited, I'm going to just throw it at you straight. What exactly is bullying?
Okay, thank you very much once again for the opportunity to be on the program this morning. I know that the word bullying is something that is quite common. A lot of people have, been talking about it, and I'm sure so many people are used to this particular word. But just to simply put, I think bullying is basically when someone repeatedly hurts or threatens another person on purpose. That means the person is doing it intentionally. And of course, we have different types of bullying that I'm sure some of us are familiar with. We have physical bullying when somebody hits or pushes someone else. We have verbal, teasing or name calling. We have emotional bullying when you decide to embarrass someone or exclude the person. Or I know people talk about cyber bullying. Bullying that takes place online.
Wow.
So basically, according to a form of aggressive behavior, that is used against somebody else with the intention to hurt the person. I think that's what I can say that bullying is at the moment.
Aggressive behavior intentionally. Let me ask you this. When you talk about aggressive behavior that's intentional against another person, what age can bullying start? Do we say, oh, only teenagers can bully, or no child can bully until child is age 10 or age 9? What age can bully?
Okay, so just to further buttress on the definition that I gave, that's why I deliberately used the word intentional. It is done on purpose. When you say somebody is a bully or someone is bullying another person, is an intentional and deliberate behavior. You understand? That is done repeatedly and consistently. It is not, you can't say someone is a bully when it's just an isolated case. You understand? But once it becomes a pattern, something that is done repeatedly and consistently, then we say, okay, this person is a bully. I'm going to answer your question on in terms of the age, but again, what is the purpose? Why is the person decide? Why is the person, expressing that act? Is related to power. because bullying has to do also with what we call power imbalance. This person has power over the other person. It could be physical power and he uses it to bully the person. It could be social power, you understand? But the ultimate goal is because there is a power imbalance and the person wants to gain power over somebody else. That is why most people engage in bullying. Ironically, if you look at the history of bullying, you realize that it's from a Dutch word that is called boela, which means love or brothers. Um, that's why I say ironically, because if you look at the root word of bullying, it has nothing to do with what we are familiar with at the moment. But in the 16th century, the root word, which is from a Dutch word, is related to when you say somebody is my brother or my sweetheart. You understand? It's used as a form of endearment. But as time begins to progress, things start changing. So there was a twist, and the negative connotation is now attached to this particular word. Then people now begin to refer to bullying as something that is negative. When you talk about the age, the truth is that bullying starts as early as 3 to 4 years, in some cases, even less than 3 years. You understand? Because we are talking of aggressive behavior. So you see children sometimes who are less than 3 years who have started pushing, grabbing forcefully, eating somebody else. But at that stage, they don't have full understanding and knowledge of what they were doing. So they were not doing it with an intention to gain power or control over somebody else. But once they get to the age of 5, between 5 to 8 years, they start beginning to understand social power. They start beginning to understand the concept of popularity, the concept of being left out. Then, if that's when they now start engaging in bullying that is intentional and purposeful. You understand? And once that behavior continues, it grows into adulthood. So bullying starts as early as less than 2, 3 years old.
Wow. Wow. Ironically, starting from love, we have come to define bullying very different, really opposite to love. And like you said, children even under 3 can bully.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and I'm just throwing it up in my head, and I'm wondering, for the average person out there, I'll ask the question in 2 ways. Number one, yes, we talk about safeguarding, but how do you guide your child against becoming a bully? Maybe that's where we should start it from.
Okay, the first thing I'm going to say is that when I said earlier on that children bullying start as early as even 2 to 3 years old, is because there's a concept in psychology that is known as the social learning theories. That concept states that it's called the imitation learning, sorry, the social learning theory, which focus on how children copy behavior, imitation, how they imitate behavior, especially the behavior of their caregivers. You understand? So once they see their caregiver being aggressive, they copy such behavior. So to safeguard, one of the first things I would recommend is the fact that we as caregivers must be good role models. You understand? When I mean be good role models, the fact that once you begin to eat, children, begin to, you yourself, you're aggressive, or you begin to fight or abuse, people, whether emotionally, physically, whatever, or you tend to bully people, children learn that behavior. And at that early age, they are not, their cognitive ability is not strong enough to process things logically. So they believe that whatever you do is the reality, is the pattern of behavior. That is how society should, that's how people should behave in a society. So they learn to solve problem based on that behavior that they have copied from you. So that's one thing I would recommend. Another thing is that we need to start teaching children empathy and respect. As early as 2 years, children can begin to express empathy. But at that stage, they might not be able to express it in a way that cognitive empathy state that they now understand what it means to really show empathy and to understand the feelings of others, and now to comfort people. When somebody is in hurt or somebody is in pain, they start showing some form of comfort. They say sorry. You understand? Sometimes they can even come and put their hand on the person and say
Mhm.
sorry. Why? That is a form of empathy. Once you start teaching children that, so you set that clear rules. Anytime you see them behaving contrary to that, you talk to them, let them understand that this at home or in school or anywhere. Now, the more you do that, the more they begin to do the right. You understand? Because any behavior you reinforce will increase. Any behavior
Mm.
you you punish will decrease. That is the principle in the law of conditioning. Oh, sorry, operant conditioning. You say whatever behavior you increase or you reinforce.
Mm. Are we missing you there?
And what that cause, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
If you continue to reinforce negative behavior, it will continue to increase. And if you continue to reinforce punish negative behavior, it will reduce. So it's important for us to be able to understand that. So we need to teach them that we need to be the role model. We need to show love to children. Very
Hmm.
important. You must build relationship because the more relationship you build with them, the more you are teaching them behavior that are expected in the society. So it's important for us to be able to build such behavior. Let's teach them conflict resolution skills. You might think it's not important, but it's very important at that age, how to resolve conflict. Because the truth is that they will always have conflict with their peers, but how do they resolve it? We must be able to teach them conflict resolution skill. And lastly, I think we need to teach them how to be assertive and not to be aggressive because it's also
Mm.
very important. People who want to try and trample on their rights. People who want to say things that we want to do so many things. Be assertive, how to speak up without being aggressive. So it's important for us to be able to teach them all of this principle. The more we do that, the more we begin to create an environment where bullying is being discouraged, where human being, not an object, to be trampled upon. And lastly, let me say this: we might not take it important, but it's very important. There's this concept known as the binary thinking, where we always separate maybe for when you say developed versus undeveloped, global north versus global south, male versus female, Hausa versus Igbo. Once children begin to see others that way, it can also lead to bullying. Because the moment you feel that you are superior to others, maybe based on your gender or your tribe or your religion or your race, it can also lead to bullying. So we must teach them to see everyone as human being. Very, very important. They must see everyone as human being and don't place or attach people identity is so that it doesn't make you become feel superior to others and begin to want to gain control over them. So I think some of these principles that I've just shared can help us to be able to safeguard children from bullies, or for them, even for them bullying other people, because it's very important for us to be able to help them to create this environment. But we as parents must also show example and be good role models so that they can copy such behavior from us.
Wow. Clearly, I hear you very clear. That it all starts practically from home, practically from us, the parents, the caregivers. So that you're the parent, you're the teacher, you are the nanny, you are whatever, as long as you have children around you, preventing bullying actually starts from us being role models. And when we're talking about being role models, it dawned on me that most of adults, maybe that's maybe that's actually where this issue about not shouting came from. Most adults, they're just used to it. You want a child to do something, just shout on the child. Stop that. And child says, why are you shouting? And then the child also then shouts at the next person because he thinks that is the way to go. So it actually starts from us. If we must guard against bullying, if we must be bully proof, then we must be the role models. And you also said something about teaching empathy and respect. And it's so important that we actually help our children to respect people. this idea of superiority and inferiority complex, we shouldn't allow it, even in our homes. I don't know why I'm diverting to this. Don't let your child think the nanny is an inferior citizen in your house. Treat everybody equally and let the child see that even the nanny, even the driver, even the gate man is respected. When they see you respect them, they will in turn respect those people as well. I mean, I don't understand why a child who is just 5 will call an adult by name, come here, go and get me water. And you think it's okay. Say, well, it works for him or it works for her. No. Teach respect. Yes, that person is working in your house, you are paying the salary, but please teach your child to respect that person. There's no harm in saying Miss Anna, Mr. James, Mr. This, in calling the people that are older than them. And when they're the 5 major words, please teach your child to say, please, can I have a glass of water, please? I mean, they give the glass of water, thank you. But it's my nanny. It doesn't matter. It's your nanny, but teach empathy and teach respect. And you said something about showing love. And at times, love can be tough. Sometimes in showing love, you must actually be tough. But even in disciplining the child, let the child see that it's from a point of love. So explain to that child why you are doing what you're doing, why you are saying no to that bad behavior. And like you said, enforce the right behaviors, celebrate the wins. So child is respectful, celebrate that child. The child does something right, celebrate that child. And when the child is naughty, tell the child, no, 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 this is not acceptable here. This is not according to our family values. So that tells me that you must actually have family values that you are teaching your child for you to guide that child's right. Thank you so much, thank God. But I'm going to still come back to this. So teach assertiveness and not aggression. Now, those 2 words are interesting words. Sometimes people think to assert you must be aggressive because they think that when you say no mildly, they're not going to listen. So you must say no with some force. And it starts from home, I agree. But you see it everywhere. And like you said, binary thinking. Sometimes you think this person is inferior to me. So when I'm talking to this person, I must exert some force. I must shout. How do we strike that balance? Being assertive, but not aggressive.
I think the first thing is for you to, first of all, know your worth, understand boundaries, know your values and principles, what work for you, what doesn't work for you, because it's very, very important. Most times people tend to be people pleasers. They want people to like them. That is why they're unable to, set boundaries and to be assertive when things they are not comfortable with certain things. So as early enough or as a child begins to grow, this is one skill we must teach them. We must strike that balance. You being assertive is saying no to certain things without having to fight, without having to use, insultive words, or without having to be aggressive about it. You can say no to certain things once you understand your values, you understand your principle, you know what you stand for. You can say no to certain things and you stand by it. You understand, no matter the pressure, without feeling bad that you stand for what is right, and without you having to be forceful about it. The moment you begin to become forceful to get what you want, then you are getting to the point where you are beginning to hurt the other person at the expense of getting what you want. That is not the principle. That's not the right way to be able to do things. You can still get what you want by standing or being firm or being assertive. And most time, children find it difficult to be assertive because they have grown up in an environment where they have experienced a lot of criticism. A lot of times people have shut them, down for saying their mind or for speaking out, even when they are speaking out in a way that is not disrespectful. So before you know, they become, withdrawn, they develop low self-esteem, that they are unable to be assertive when somebody is trying to bully them. That is why when somebody bullies them, they can't come out to report. They can't see anything. They can't stand because they have grown up already. In fact, their mind is already a fertile ground for bullying to take place. Because proud to them meeting those who are bullying them, they have already lived in an environment where people have shut them out so many times. You understand? So meeting a bully, it was just so easy for the
I think network is failing there. But I
person to do. I've seen people who have stood against and they have grown in an environment. Thank you.
wow.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. And there's a question that what you just said now brings to the table, and somebody else actually just asked it on the platform as well. How do you connect to a strong-willed child without being aggressive? This child, as small as that child is, knows what he or she wants, knows what he wants to do, has his own mind, but you need to guide this child. How do you correct a strong-willed child without being aggressive?
First of all, love will collapse the dividing wall. Love is powerful. Parenting that is not rooted in love is not effective. There's something that relationship does in the heart of a child, in the soul of a child. That being strong-willed that we talk about most times is related to the child personality. And if you trace it, you'll be shocked that even maybe the father or the mother is also strong-willed. The child is just, expressing the DNA of the parent. There's nothing wrong in being strong-willed. It becomes wrong when the strong will is now making the child become disrespectful, making the child, do things that are hurtful, aggressive, not empathetic, and all of that. Because that same strong-willed behavior, strong-willed child behavior will be needed in so many areas in the child life, especially when it comes to stand against a bully. Being strong-willed will be needed at that point in time. But there must be a balance, and that is why we bring it down to the beginning. A child does not just become strong-willed in adulthood, or a child does not just become strong-willed all of a sudden. You've seen the pattern growing up. At the early stage, that's why I talk about early detection. At the early stage, you must start thinking, taking us back to what I said earlier on. Set clear rules and stand by the clear rules. No matter how strong-willed the child is, through your rules and system in place, you can ensure that you break that path that is usually the strong will to exhibit negative behavior, because you have rules and the child needs to abide by the rules. You understand? And you do that in law. With time, the child will begin to comply to the rules that you have set, because it's clear and the child understands that. But please don't be forceful about it. You understand? Do it with love. That is the balance. Don't be forceful about it. Set your rules. Be clear. No matter how strong will a child is, once he knows that you have rules in the house and the rule is coming from a place of love, you understand, it will really, really help the child. And please, don't assume children don't know anything. Sometimes explain to them. That's why I say don't be forceful. Explain why you want them to do what you have told them to do. Let them know the consequences of not doing it. You understand? These are children that just want to always, have their way. But you want to also start teaching them early enough that most time always having their way will not lead to what is right, because there's a way that seems right unto a man, but the end of it thereof is a way of destruction. So these are conversations you need to have. You begin to understand, and you will think that, oh, your child will not understand. But trust me, with time, begin to understand. But once you become forceful, what you are doing, you are reinforcing the behavior. Even if the child decides to obey, is obeying from a place of, just doing it to please my parent. And it has not really changed who they are. What they just need is to go to an environment where you are no longer there, or that your, forcefulness will not be applied anymore. Then you see them unleash. And at that point, they'll be unleashing from a place of trauma. So it will now be a trauma response. So it's important we show love, engage them, talk to them, set your rules, let it be clear, let them abide to the rules, teach them consequences instead of being forceful.
Show them love, engage them, and teach them consequences. And that's very important. When child knows there's a consequence for doing the wrong thing or the right thing, they probably will shape in the right direction. Before I let you go, I know time is fast spent, but I want to ask you this, and it might actually be funny, but let me ask you. In trying to bully proof your child, can you then say, I want to engage my child in the active sports like taekwondo, like karate, like wrestling, like boxing, so that my child can defend him or herself anywhere he or she finds him or herself? Is that part of bully proofing a child?
Yes, there's nothing wrong with teaching your child taekwondo, but let the child know the purpose. It's not you are not teaching the child taekwondo to go everywhere and begin to fight everybody. You understand? It's a skill. It's just like it's a survival skill. Just like you are teaching your child how to swim. You understand? Why do you teach your child to swim? Do you is it because you want the child to represent Nigeria in Olympic? Not necessarily, but it's a survival skill because you never know when they're going to need that skill. Or when you are teaching your child how to cook, it's a survival skill because they may get to a point where there's no place to buy food from a restaurant. They will cook by themselves. You understand? So teaching them taekwondo is also a skill that you are teaching them for them to have. You never can tell. Maybe that skill will be needed one day somewhere when somebody want to bully them, or maybe their life is in danger and they will need to apply that skill.
Thank you very much. That's good to know. So when you teach your child taekwondo, karate, and all of those things, it's actually a survival skill. It's one of the skills like swimming, like cooking. And when you say like cooking, I'm like, oh, that's true. Some of these skills we actually do take them for granted. Before I let you go, talking about bully proofing your child, what would be your final words?
Well, I always say this, trust me, everything rises and falls on relationships. Relationship, relationship. No parenting without relationship. Trust me, I have researched this over and over and over. That is the foundation for bulletproofing your child. Once you have good relationship with your child, you have resolved 60% of the problem that will arise in parenting. So my encouragement is this: build relationship with that child, and not when they become teenager. Start even while they're in the womb, and if they have been given birth to, start as early as 0 years. You can never, 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 you know, downplay the power of attachment and relationship in parenting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank God. I am so grateful. Thank you for the nuggets you have dropped today. I've written and my notes are full. And I know a lot of our audience too are actually doing the same thing. Thank you very much. And I will always say, I will come again. Thank you very, very much. And enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you very much. And you too. Bye.
Right. Wow, that was so apt, so straight to the point. I actually thought we couldn't finish it in 30 minutes, but it did a very beautiful work at that. And you know, something is said. It says everything rises and falls on relationship. You can never overemphasize the power of relationship. That child, that little person around you, relies on you for so many things. But you know what? It will not come to you if it's not sure that he or she is loved by you. So the bottom line, the starting point of bulletproofing your child is to love that child. Love that child unconditionally. Let that child know that no matter what happens, he can always come back to you. She can always come back to you and find a safe haven in you. Does that mean you don't correct the child? You will correct, but you will correct in love. You will guide, you will teach, you will explain to the child, you will engage with the child, you will keep the child on the path that the child ought to go. So bullying is real, but we can all join hands together to stop bullying if we get it right from the home. That child that's a bully in school started from the home. That child has been bullied and cannot talk started from home. So let's build our children from the home. Let's love them. Let's bully-proof them with the act of love. And I know that even the sky is not the limit to what that child can become. So that's it for today. We are continuing next week, still in the mood of parenting and children. Wondering what we're talking about next week? Calm down, wait for next week, stay tuned. Remember, every Monday, 7:45 a.m. And if it's too early for you or you're busy at work, you cannot make it at 7:45, go to the YouTube channel and it's always there. You can always listen again and again and again. And I know it will add value to you. And until I come your way next week, Monday, another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. Remember, if you can think it, you can be it. And yes, you can have it. And like I always say, together we win. Thank you everyone for being with me on this call. I truly do appreciate you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. Bye for now.